I always say everything looks easy and nothing is.
Yep.
And everything is about all those 1,000 things that nobody thinks about that you have to do, and you have to do pretty well.
Hey everybody, welcome back. It's another great episode of Bourbon Pursuit coming at you. I'm Kenny Coleman.
And Ryan Cecil here.
And we're testing out our 4-camera setup today, or 3-camera setup with 4 people. We haven't done it with 4 people yet. So
I know.
We're
breaking it in.
So if you are on YouTube land, you get to see something that's brand new to us. But I'm excited to be able to talk about this brand that's been on here. We've been fortunate enough to actually have 15 stars quite a few times on Whiskey Quickies. And met these two gentlemen a time or two at Bourbon Fest and whatnot. But I remember the first time we got it, and even since sequential through there, we have yet to have a bad 15 stars.
Oh yeah, they're always solid, well put together, very interesting, unique blends, and so yeah, I'm really excited, and also was very embarrassed that as we were like talking about what does 15 stars mean, and then our great loyal fan base, you know, they quickly told us what it meant.
They cemented that one. So, yeah, the 15th state was, of course, Kentucky, and so hence the reason why 15 stars. So we finally understood that part, and we would have gotten that history lesson at some point.
That's right.
We're here now. It is what it is. But today on the show, we have the co-founders, father and son duo, Rick and Ricky Johnson of 15 Stars. So fellas, welcome.
Pleased to be here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Well, Rick, let's start with you first. Yeah, we're going to respect our elders.
Oldest first?
Yeah, we'll go oldest first on this.
Which was in reverse. Ricky was the dad and Rick was the...
Actually, I am a second. He's the third.
Oh,
yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you're Rick Jr. and you're Rick Jr. the third. All right.
Something like that.
Something like that. It's on the birth certificate. So kind of talk about a little bit, your journey, like what got you into this, what made you all want to start doing, creating a bourbon brand. But, I guess before we get to that, sort of just your journey with bourbon and whiskey.
Wow. It really started with Ricky. It's his fault.
Oh, well, never mind.
Right?
Rick, you're done. Over to Ricky. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, it's about right.
Kids.
We've been in a lot of businesses. I've been in a lot of businesses, let's say, over the years. And
what type of businesses?
Business is a hobby. So first thing we did, my dad was in the oil distribution business, and I started our first convenience store. We built that to a couple of hundred stores. Grew that over 20 years, sold it. I've owned Indiana Limestone Company, mined and fabricated limestone, Central Restaurant Products, so sold restaurant equipment around the country. A number of them. So we've had a lot of fun with businesses, and one of them is Black Jewel Popcorn. So
that's what you brought for us a
I
little
might
bit
just
today.
grab
too.
that. Yeah. So I don't know if you need something with the sip, but
might as well. Let's
but
go
Black
ahead.
Jewel is a
Let's try
family
this.
company, and we've got some really unique corns that are small black ears of corn, about 5 inches long.
The popcorn's white though.
Now, popcorn is bright white. Yeah, popcorn is bright white. In fact, not like the yellow corns that are typical. So it goes from black to bright white. You can see the black hulls in it.
It almost looks like it's bleached.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it
Yeah,
is.
super white. Tasty little kernels. And
I thought
So anyway,
when it's black
yeah,
jewel, and then you get it's like bright white. That's cool.
Yeah.
so Ricky's got a summer in college that he needed something to do. And I said, here'd be a good project. What if we took our little 5-inch ear of black corn that we use for popcorn, and what if we made a bourbon out of it and create a business plan? And so maybe Ricky ought to chime in.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So his idea initially was during a summer home from school. I was at school for business, marketing, and entrepreneurship. So it kind of fit what I was doing at the time.
What school, by the way?
Indiana University.
Okay. Hoosiers.
It's not super popular
Mark
around here,
Cuban.
but
I'm
that's
a Mark
fine.
Cuban.
No, it's
Yeah,
all good.
exactly. Exactly. But so was home for the summer. My dad gave me the task of creating a business plan around turning these unique corns into bourbon. And so I set out that summer, learned a lot. It was basically, just a lot of learning, researching, but also making connections. And one of the great connections we made was with Bardstown Bourbon Company, who I'm sure you guys are very familiar with.
Yep.
And
Yeah, we got
Checks every week.
Yeah, we got a few dollars invested in there too.
yeah, and so firsthand how great of a team that is. And they were really excited about the project. They're young now. They were younger then, so they hadn't done anything with any heirloom corns or colored corns. So it was something that they thought was exciting. And at the end of the summer, I guess my plan was compelling enough that we started distilling. So as of November 2019, we started distilling that black corn in a wheated bourbon mash bill first.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well,
Okay, so
Still not in a bottle.
no, I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's resting.
We're
yeah,
still
so
waiting.
what makes black corn? Because typically yellow dent's like the standard.
Yeah, sure.
What are the qualities of black corn that you found that make it a good whiskey grain?
So we're it made a really good white dog. We're kind of finding out as we go currently as it ages.
I guess it's still TBD, right?
Yeah.
But sure, I'm sure
no,
there's
it's-
like stuff that maybe had good yields or put off this type of aroma at white dog or whatever.
Yeah, so the chemistry is very similar to a dent corn. The yield's very similar, and the flavor ended up being pretty unique. It is in a wheated mash bill, so not a direct comparison to a lot of whiskeys you'd find on the shelf, being kind of I wouldn't say oddball thing. There's plenty of them, but a minority of bourbon. But it kind of has what we call a buttery pepperminty flavor that was pretty potent at white dog and has carried through as it ages. It's a little over 5 years old now, 5.5, and those flavors are balancing really nicely with the barrel age now. But it is very flavorful. And one thing that was really unique about it is we found at white dog, it was very viscous, like very rich in mouthfeel. So that was an interesting thing and something that has also carried through.
That's cool. So with that, what kind of barrel and type of char and toast did you do research? Like, all right, we have this profile. What would work well with the aging vessel for this?
So we ended up going with a standard char 4 barrel.
Yep.
Yeah, nothing unique, not revolutionary on that front. But
If it ain't broke, don't fix
Yeah,
it.
that's what I was going to say.
But
Yep.
we are using aged staves, for the barrels. So we did decide to do
Yep.
aged staves and started out with a little bit lower barrel entry and our red, white, and blue corn. So we got the black, right, which you're tasting. And every one of these is different in a popcorn and they're different in bourbon. But we also have red corns, blue corns, heirloom whites. So old heirloom corns that, they're great popcorns.
All
But
right.
They make a great bourbon too, and every one of them tastes unique and different.
I'm gonna
So,
grab another handful here and keep
yeah.
asking questions. So
yeah.
the bourbon the popcorn business started before the bourbon business,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
How big is the popcorn business for you?
It's not huge. I mean, it's a specialty corn, right? So they're
Is it like a Whole Foods only kind of thing?
yeah,
Like where you-
it's specialty type stores.
Okay.
Well, although
Rainbow Blossom.
not just that. I mean, Meyer in the Midwest carries it, so they do a great job with it. Publix in the Southeast,
Oh, dang.
so we're in all the Publix stores, and so
Sounds like a big
so we are in. Clearly, it leans itself toward specialty buyers and specialty customers, but there's a lot of specialty customers that shop at traditional groceries, so it also works there. So,
And then you had put this question to Ricky and say, maybe you should go make a bourbon out of this. But did you all like find a common bond in bourbon? What was that sort of thing that brought you together and said, hey, let's turn this into whiskey? Like how did that conversation really come about?
yeah, I don't know if there was a big conversation there, but I would say I can remember thinking as we're building our convenience store chain, which did include Indiana, Kentucky, and Illinois, where we had our couple of hundred stores. And
Do you mind sharing what
What was the name?
Bigfoot was a convenience store.
I don't know
Yeah.
if I remember.
Yeah,
or heard of it.
we had 2001. We sold those. They now are the Circle K's around here.
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
all right.
Yeah, but anyway, I was driving around Kentucky in those days, and I always thought, well, it'd be kind of cool to have a bourbon brand sometime. So I don't know, the thought came up with the corn. Maybe it'd be a business plan. And honestly, we didn't think when we started that. I thought it was just a good summer for Ricky. I had a summer like
You're
that.
that's
where,
a cute project.
yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, trying to get a little education in business, and I did that one summer with a guy in my hometown, Columbus, and built a business plan for for a vitamin store. So I guess my plan wasn't as good.
Yeah, it's okay.
We didn't do it.
We all fail at some points, right?
So I'm interested. It sounds like you've had several successful ventures, and
Yeah.
then you're like, all right, we're going to get into the business plan, the business of bourbon. What did you think when you looked at like the nuts and bolts of how to make it in the bourbon business, and what versus your hit, because we're obviously trying.
It looks romantic from the outside.
It looks romantic from the outside, but when you get into it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is like a complicated.
I've been in a lot of businesses, right? We built a lot of businesses and been lucky in those. But I always say everything looks easy and nothing is.
Yep.
And everything is about all those 1,000 things that nobody thinks about that you have to do, and you have to do pretty well, right? And as we've moved from business to business, I think the other thing that has been interesting in that is, there are some concepts that certainly transcend all those businesses, but every business has its own little nuances, its own little secrets, its own little things that you got to learn, and there's a lot of them. And so bourbon's just like that, right? There's just 1,000 little things that you got to do, and you got to do right, and it doesn't have anything to do with a gas station or a convenience store or restaurant equipment or, mining stone, or it's got nothing to do with that. But that's what makes it fun. And I'll tell you what, in those different businesses, there have been a lot of different cultures. And I think the culture in the bourbon business is the most like the culture in the oil business that we had, which is basically a really collegial group, a great group of people in it. We've been in a couple of businesses that were hypersensitive, hyper competitive, people were standoffish. But it's fun to work in a business where people are friendly and you got a lot of good people, and they're generally helpful and, trying to help you along.
Yeah.
And it was that way in our first business I was in, and I appreciate it in this business.
All right. So you started off and you got your new make going on at Bardstown, but then obviously that business model doesn't work because you got to be able to sit on it for X amount of time.
And my hair's gray.
Yeah, well, we're all getting there. We're catching up to you.
I'm aging faster than the whiskey.
That's what I was saying.
So at some point you realize, okay, well, we got to probably start getting our name out there. We've got to do something that is going to build the business. We got to get revenue in the door. Obviously, sourcing whiskey is one way to do it. But how did you land on doing what you're doing, the name, all that sort of stuff too?
Yeah, I guess it wasn't our initial plan to do anything before our own distillate was ready. What we were going to do was wait for that. But as we were, before and after we started distilling, we'd been doing a lot of flights of different whiskeys, just trying to understand different variables, whether that's, how different grain percentages affect flavor, different floors it's aged on, a bunch of different things. And at the end of each of those flights, we would take all the product and start blending it together. And so as we continued to do that, we found that we liked the blends more than we liked the components a lot of the time. And so based on that, started trying or got the idea to blend a bit more intentionally. And so we started sourcing to do that. And so that's where that came from, our belief in blending through just these trials we were doing that ended up becoming our motivation to source and get. And our palates have always skewed towards older aged material, which also didn't help in waiting for our own stuff because it was only going to take longer. So sourcing gave us an avenue to get older profiles that fit our palates and really design these blends how we wanted them to be with a lot of different flavor profiles.
I think I'm jumping a little bit. Give me some timelines here as well. We talked 2019 distilling at Bardstown.
Mm-hmm.
What was the next phase? You talked about finding some barrels and putting some liquid in a bottle, but what timeline are we looking at here?
So I guess our first product was released into the market in April of 2022. So this whole blending, development, and sourcing was between kind of 2020 and beginning of 2022.
So you came in at a time almost like what we did, where it was actually pretty difficult to find a lot of high-aged
Totally.
whiskeys
Yeah.
at a good price. I mean, it was definitely, I mean, now it's starting to come down a little bit and starting to become a little bit more palatable, I guess is a better word to say. But during that time, what were you thinking in trying to find high-aged whiskeys and going like, oh God, like what the hell are we going to have to sell this for? I mean, that was our biggest thing that we were trying to always figure out early on. It's like, are we going to be able to talk to a consumer and say, we're buying, X age Barton and we got to sell it to you for whatever it is. Like, how did you all come up with a business plan to say, this is what we're going to go forward with, and this is how we're going to categorize ourselves as premium? And what was the thought process there?
I mean, the price is always a consideration, but with these ultra premium whiskeys that we were buying and blending, it was you're able to sell those at a price point that makes a little more sense for what we were paying for the barrels. So we didn't feel like we needed to charge any more than it should be for those products. It was just kind of the market value justifies
it's
it.
fair to say, though, we had no idea what we were doing.
Welcome to business school,
Yeah.
Ricky.
Yeah. Failing
And,
forward. That's what we do.
And it really, we had no thought when we started that you could even sell a bottle of whiskey for $99, right? I mean, we never bought a bottle of whiskey for $99.
Yeah.
So a big change there. But our first whiskey was a blend of 14 and 15-year-old, our Timeless Reserve, and it was priced at $279, which, as I've said a few times, I had a lot of my friends saying, "Why in the world anybody buy
How am I going to sell you on
$279 bottle of whiskey from you?" And I thought, well, that's a great question. Why would somebody? But if you put that together, and we had initially planned it was just going to be a 15 stars, a 15-year-old bourbon, right? That'd be a great way to start.
Yeah, makes sense.
But back to Ricky's comment on the blending, we had a 14-year bourbon, and we started playing around, and the two together were better than the 15. And we'd already produced the labels. We were ready to go in and bottle, and that was coming up, and we threw those away. We got to our label producer. They produced it with a 14 on it because it was going to be a blend of 14 and 15. Off we go. And $279, and it sold out. And it was one of 3 finalists for World's Best Whiskey at the San Francisco World Spirits Competition. So that didn't hurt.
Yeah.
Right? That helped
Way to
us
make a
out.
splash.
Yeah. Yeah. So from my very first, we've really had some of these, and we continue to have, and we're going to taste a couple that have won some recent awards, best of class. And that's really what we're after is, how do we produce really best in class whiskeys and whiskeys that will support that $100 to $279 price that we have to put on these for the ages that they are.
Yeah, I can vouch that everything y'all have done has been out of this world. I mean, they've been really just quality.
Haven't had a bomb yet.
Not a bomb yet. No. Not. And too, so like you talked about your tinkering with blending and that. Where did that curiosity come from? Just from playing at home, or just?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, literally.
Ricky's got a special talent. He could smell a McDonald's 2 miles away when he was 8 years old. So
It's my claim to fame.
he's got it. Yeah. So
Well, I'm not going to give you too much. There's actually already a McDonald's about 2 miles away from the next
I knew
McDonald's,
that.
right?
Yeah, they're always there.
They are. But I guess, so how did you, Blenders Unite over here. So how did you kind of go through and figure out, what's going to work well? How are you going through choosing barrels that are going to be blended and so on and so forth?
Yeah, I mean, as far as what works well, I mean, the barrels we choose, first off, have to taste good on their own. But as far as what's going to work well together, we always, whenever we're thinking about buying things, try them and experiment with bourbons that we have in our stock. So that lets us know that it's something that can work with what we own. But also, I mean, if it has a good flavor profile, it can generally work with something else. And with blending, the idea is to balance different profiles. So you can take what you like from this and what you like from something else and kind of find a point where both of those express themselves and aren't bullying each other. But yeah, I guess a lot of the stuff that we look for tended to work well together.
Yeah.
Everything doesn't, though, right? I mean, you have to back up and find out. And as a blender, I think one of the keys is to have a nice stock of whiskey.
Yeah.
To have options. If you don't have options, you're really not going to be a successful blender.
Yeah,
So
you
it
got to have
takes
a
that.
library and tools
Yeah.
and levers to
Yeah.
pull.
Well, kind of talk about this first one that you poured for us here. I believe Three Kings.
No, it's
No.
It's platinum.
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 Yeah.
Kind of talk to us about platinum here.
The platinum one,
Very good.
Ricky can talk about the whiskey, but we brought our two most recent award winners. So it was Best Small Batch Bourbon at the New York Wine and Spirits Competition. And Ricky, you want to just chat about the whiskey?
Yep. So Platinum is a blend of 19, 15, and 10-year-old bourbons from Kentucky, Indiana, and Tennessee. 98 proof, very limited release in our highest price tier at $279. So same as our initial release, the 14-year-old Timeless Reserve. Really a special blend, very subtle in its notes, and a lower proof at 98 than you get some of these high-age bourbons at. So we really were just going for ease of drinking, a smooth and enjoyable profile to drink neat.
So
You didn't want to do hazmat or just barrel? That's,
come on.
You know,
But that's my whole argument.
We're in
too.
a
It's
connoisseur's whiskey.
exactly.
And this
It's like
is
every whiskey has its perfect proof, and this one's
we agree.
beautiful at the proof point you did. So
And so that's a great segue into what we do, which we call flavor proofing. So with each of our releases, we agree that every whiskey has a proof that works well with it, a specific proof. And so, but instead of creating our final blend and then proofing as an afterthought, our idea is to, while we're blending, take these different blend percentages as we're going through the process and try them up and down the proof range to figure out the blend and proof that complement each other. So rather than, you would never know, the best blend and proof combination might not be blend A at 110 and blend A at 115. It might be blend A at 110 and blend B at 105, but you would never know that blend B was great at 105 if you didn't proof around on blend B. And so our idea is just to kind of exhaust the options of proofing so that we can find what works best together.
Yeah, we go through a pretty exhaustive process in a blend. Really, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens over a month or a month and a half, and we go away from it and come back to it. It actually happens at our home. We pull the samples, we blend it in the kitchen, and we play with it. And we work it, as Ricky said. Work the blends, work the proof, and and just try and fine tune it. Right? Try and figure out where is that very, very best spot.
Yeah.
And
That's
it
one
doesn't
way to
happen
do it.
fast, right? There's bourbon. Nothing in bourbon happens
No.
fast.
No,
Unfortunately.
takes a year for absolutely everything. Ricky, I got a quick question for you. Is this your first job out of college of getting into this?
Yeah.
It is. Oh,
Yeah, so
man,
we
I'm
started-
jealous.
When I did the project was between my sophomore and junior year. So I was kind of part-timing it and in the summers while I was in college, and then graduated.
Going on 21.
Oh man, that's what a dad.
I know.
Yeah.
I need a mentor like that in my life that could take me under their wing and let me kind of sew this and make it happen. That's
Pretty crazy first job.
Yeah, I know. And it's still rocking and rolling. I love that for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. So also too, we got the next one, the Three Kings, but I also noticed some of your releases you had some interesting cask finish blends. So what got you interested in that, and talk about why you chose the cask and whatnot, and the name of the release as well.
Yeah, so we're always looking for ways to add flavor and interesting flavors at that. So cask finishing allows you to bring in some flavors that aren't present in bourbon naturally, so things that you can only get through that. And I guess we started off doing our cask finishing a couple of 3 years ago maybe, and we didn't know what kind of casks we wanted to finish with. We tried stuff off shelves to get an idea, but we really just kind of went into it and put a bunch of bourbon in a bunch of different casks to see what worked well with our product. And what that ended up being was our triple cask release was our first finished product that we did. And that was it was a blend of two bourbons, 8 and 16, that we put in that exact blend into 10 different finishing barrels. Then after those were done aging, blended them at different ratios. We didn't put every barrel we finished in obviously back into that triple cask. So went through another round of blending and then created that final product. And that's what we've really done with all of our finishing barrels, even to the most recent, which I think you're referencing, is our 3 ports release.
Yes. Yeah.
And that is a blend of tawny, ruby, and white port finished bourbons, age 9 and 15, both from Kentucky. And really, it sounds like it should have been super intentional that we said, okay, we're going to finish in these 3 different port casks, but it was the same thing where I had, I think it was like 12 different finishing casks that I was starting to blend with for that. And it just ended up being dialed into the 3 port casks. That ended up being something really interesting that worked well together. So
triple cask, you just want to go with cigar batch like everybody else does?
we should have called it cigar batch. We're not the biggest cigar smokers. We every once in a while I'll have a cigar, but we have people now at shows tell us, "Oh, this would be a great cigar blend." I'm like, "Well,
what's your thoughts on that of calling it a cigar blend or cigar batch, or you just calling it's all marketing? Kind of, what are your thoughts on it?
Generally,
Yeah.
marketing. I mean, if it goes well with a cigar, it's all subjective, isn't it? What certain people think goes well with certain cigars, but
yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think any bourbon goes well with a cigar.
What doesn't go with cigar?
Yeah. So like,
what doesn't go with bourbon?
Well, I mean, it's Black Jewel popcorn goes pretty well with probably a cigar too, right? So I think anything
goes better with bourbon.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably like a Monte Cristo or something like that is probably for this one I'd go with. Rick, I kind of want to dive back into your past a little bit here, because I think you bring, what you had mentioned. There's different elements and variations of different businesses that you kind of brought into this. During your time of having the limestone company and the service stations and everything like that, what are some of like those hard lessons you learned as a business owner that you're trying to help steer away from and not make it happen inside the bourbon whiskey industry, but that you can teach us and as well as your son over here?
Boy, that's a
I know.
big question, right?
How much
there,
time you got,
right?
buddy?
Yeah,
Let's go ahead.
Let's we need a series. This is going to be a series. This can't be a podcast.
Let's cut the skin a little deeper. Let's see what we can
just
do.
Go, huh? Yeah. Well, I mean, there are, I think the real key is just like I said at the start. There are so many things, but if I were saying, what are a few things that have made a difference and that we bring to bourbon is, one, aim high. Don't
try to be a bottom shelf.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, try and be the very, very best you can be at whatever area you decide that is. That might be bottom shelf.
Always best in class.
Yeah, best in class. I mean, there's something, but you can't. In any business, you can't be everything to everybody, right? You need to pick a niche. You guys talked about it, your lane, right? So figure out what your lane is, figure out what your special niche is, where you differentiate, where you can be the very, very best at what you do. And it might be bottom shelf, it might be top shelf, it might be, a finish. And for us, in bourbon, it's the blending and flavor proofing. It's taking that extra time, that extra effort to really nuance the small details to make an exceptional wine a whiskey that can produce a best of bourbon, right? That's you guys know that's not easy to do. So I think that's kind of the key. Then the other thing is kind of equity and fairness all the way around, right? And some people think of business as, getting what you can. But it really isn't, right? Business is a long-term thing, and relationships, like I said, in this is a relationship business, and the people in it are awesome. And so just the opportunity to build great relationships that are long-term, that are trustworthy, that when you make a deal with people or when you interact with people, everything's about fairness and treating people like they ought to be treated, right? And so I think there's just an awful lot to the honesty, integrity, forthrightness, and doing things right. So if you aim to be the very best that you can be at something, and you treat it like that, where you are really following a methodology that's good for all. There's still 100,000 things you got to do, but that's a good start.
Sorry, then brass tacks. What's harder? The popcorn business or the bourbon business?
I think what's funnest. I just think it's fun. I mean, that's kind of why I've been in a bunch of these businesses. I have fun with it. It's not work.
I don't believe it.
Is it? Are there days where things happen that you wish they didn't happen, or you have 3 times too many things to do? Yeah, for sure. But I guess I'd rather do that. I'm not good on a beach.
Me either.
It's
I
not,
hate beaches.
Yeah, I can walk out there for a while, pick up a couple shells, and then
Like, all right, what's
it's
next?
time to move on. Yeah, so I just have fun with it. And so I don't think
You
they're hard. I
embrace the
think they're all
chaos.
different. Yeah.
And so you got your hands in is just popcorn and bourbon? Is that what
Yeah,
you're doing?
right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Ricky, are you in the popcorn side as well, or just all of bourbon?
Nope, I am all bourbon, and actually my sister does the popcorn side.
Okay. All right. So it truly is a family business
Yep.
going on here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So what does your sister do on the popcorn side? I'm just generally curious. It's just like, is it marketing, running the business, and
Better question for you.
yeah.
Sales, marketing.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's out there talking to the grocery stores, the Publix, and the Myers of the world. And today she's at a trade show, and so a big grocery trade show. So she's out there talking to customers.
It's split duties because you're doing the trade shows at all the Bourbon Fest
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And
But honestly, you guys know it. In a small family-owned business, and when you're responsible for the outcome, which is really what, if you're running your business, that's the deal. You're responsible for the outcome. There's nothing you don't do.
No, I know. That's weird. Cleaning
yeah,
toilets and everything.
You got a specialty, but hey.
We clean the toilets the best we can every day. we aim high.
There you go.
We aim high.
Those are the best toilets around.
That's right.
Yeah, we want to make sure it's nice
used
and
to,
clean.
yeah, but I'm going to check it out.
Yeah.
Maybe not today. We've been busy recording. I have a question too. So you said you're from Columbus, Indiana, but it's 15 stars, a lot of Kentucky, history there. Why focus on the Kentucky aspect being from Indiana?
Yeah. We never thought about doing it in Indiana. Kentucky is the home of bourbon for us. I've always thought of it as that. We live in Columbus, Indiana. Most of the time we do have a spot in Louisville that we also spend a little time at on Main Street, actually across the street from you guys.
Nice
spot. Yeah. So we can spend a little
wave with
yeah,
our
there you go.
neighbors.
Yeah. But yeah, Kentucky is just seems like that spot where we ought to anchor it. And really, since we've gotten into Kentucky in a deeper way and understanding that history with 15 stars, that second U.S. flag, 15 stars, 15 stripes, celebrating Kentucky, and the imagery on our bottle, the stopper with a coin from 1795 with 15 stars on it, celebrating Kentucky as the 15th state. And we've really got into that history of Kentucky, and maybe I've enjoyed it. It's really got an amazing history that really spans kind of what we think of as American history. When Daniel Boone's coming through the Wilderness Road, right, and opening that's 1775, the year before the Declaration of Independence. So Kentucky's been around for the whole ride, and the craftsmanship that's going on in Kentucky has been unbelievable and amazing since its very earliest years. George Washington was the president when Kentucky became a state. So it's been just kind of fun to learn about early history of Kentucky, which is early history of America. And bourbon is America's native spirit, right? So bourbon is the American spirit, and it's had that. It's kind of been along for that whole ride. And so Kentucky is what it is in bourbon, and it's what I call the golden spot on earth. And that's the spot where whiskey, you can make bourbon anywhere, right? But in my opinion, it ages the very best in this golden spot. And that spot, in my opinion, is centered on Kentucky. And it extends a little bit into southern Indiana and a little bit into Tennessee. But that's really where whiskey really, really ages well. And that's why Kentucky has kind of been that home in this area. Kentucky, Tennessee, Indiana has been that home of bourbon, because this bourbon and whiskey was made all around America early on, but it didn't age the same. And so it's become that special spot. So we want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, speaking of history and stuff like that, you brought another bottle here.
Yeah.
That's in some sort of greenish blue glass, something like that. Kind of talk about what you all got cooking up here, because I feel like this is going to be the next iteration
What's your other bottle?
Something. There should be a box right behind you with had it all in there.
Yeah.
I promise I didn't steal your historic artifacts.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's gone already. That didn't take long.
It's on eBay.
It's off eBay.
Yeah, you come to Pursuit and things just start missing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what we really started doing was creating a collection of items that were crafted in Kentucky early on. And so we've got things like furniture, silver that was made in early Kentucky, and the time of that 15-star flag, 1795 to 1818. This is a little after that. This is still early 1800s. But that is the first bottle ever produced for bourbon or whiskey in Kentucky. So made in Kentucky, first bottle ever made. And so we produced a bottle.
Would you know the brand behind it, or is
there was no brand? So you would grab this, you would buy these bottles, and you would go to a store where there was a barrel, and you would fill it, and it was a container just for whiskey.
So it's like
pre-brand. There weren't brands then.
It's like today's modern growler. Maybe
it could be.
Yeah, something like that. By the way,
or a convenience store where you buy the reusable plastic cup. And
there you go. Yeah,
they don't want you doing that though. Yeah, you don't.
You got a cork. You stick that cork in there. But yeah, beautiful bottles in that blue color, bubbles in it. So we reproduced that bottle for our 15 Stars First West, which we used the ribs on the side, made a bottle that's really kind of special that reaches back into that history. And what we use as a tagline for this is explore new territory. And it's got Daniel Boone leading settlers out of the wilderness on the front.
Cool.
So exploring new territory in Kentucky has been kind of what's been going on from the start. Yeah. And
I see that. Because it looks like Daniel Boone's coming at me. I don't want to mess with these guys. This is what it looks like on this.
It is amazing when I read Daniel Boone's biography, and it's insane just thinking about them. We're going to leave North Carolina and cross the Appalachians and find it, and it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, through Wilderness Road.
My family can't even make like 5-mile hike.
Yeah.
You guys went all out on the gold leaf or the gold embossing and everything.
Once you're putting it on, you may as well put it on.
That might, that sounds like it costs.
They built the plate. They built the plate.
Do it.
Yeah.
It looks great though. And so, by the way, anybody that's in audio land, we're holding first off like an antique blue glass. What is it? 1800s?
Early 1800s.
Early 1800s, and then they've got a new reproduction coming on. It's
3 weeks ago.
Really, congratulations. We know what it's like to go through the process of getting molds and glass and all the fun stuff in between. But what's the goal with this new packaging?
So, and part of that, one, we want to stand out on the shelf. We want to root ourselves in the history of Kentucky, which we've done since the very start. But that explore new territory, which is kind of what early Kentuckians were about, and it's kind of that whole early American, that craftsmanship that was going on at the time. Really, what Ricky and I are doing is exploring new territory for us, right? And new territory in bourbon. And so it really does relate to the blending processes that we use, the flavor proofing, the finishing and the blending of those finishes, which we are really got double blended whiskeys. A whiskey like what we got here that you guys now have in your glass, the Three Kings. And so that's a whiskey that's never been produced before. That's a blend of a wheat whiskey, a rye whiskey, and actually 2 bourbons. And Ricky, you want to talk about that a little bit? So we're exploring new territory in bourbon. That's what we're about.
Tell us a little about it, Ricky. Hear it.
All right. So as he said, blends of those 3 different types of whiskey, rye, wheat, and bourbon. As far as we could Google search, never been done before, but an 11-year-old of each of those, as well as another 15-year-old bourbon. So the cool part about it is you're really getting each of those at their complete maturity in the blend. And each of them is a high percentage of their dominant grain. So the rye being a 95.5, the wheat being a 95.5, the 11-year-old bourbon being a 99.1, and then the 15-year-old bourbon, that is a more standard bourbon, rye bourbon mash bill. But the 3 majority components being very dominantly the main
why they're
grain.
Kings.
Exactly.
The Three Kings.
Yeah.
You got it.
I like that.
Yeah.
So 107 proof and was just it was last year, 2024, John Barleycorn Best American Whiskey, and this year, the World Whiskies Awards Best American Blended Whiskey. So
Congratulations. Tastes great.
Been great for us.
So again, we're trying to do things differently, but not to do something weird, right? It's like with our unique corns that are coming into our blends, which will be in this.
I was going to ask.
This First West. So
First West will be your all's black corn.
Yeah. Actually, it won't be black. It's a red, white, and blue corns that we mash together, put in a barrel at 103 proof, and it'll be a component of that blend.
Is that a Bardstown distillate as well?
Our red, white, and blue corns we ship down there. Bardstown produces it to our mash bill, and yes.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. What's the time frame you're looking at of putting some of your Because, and by the way, I'm just want to make sure it's like the 15 Stars big brand versus the First West. These are not going. They're going to be continuing like parallel kind of brands, right? Yeah, they're not going to be like, hey, we're going to switch everything to this new bottle or whatever it's going to be.
Yeah. No, 15 Stars is kind of when we started it, we wanted to produce those really limited releases, super high age, super exquisite blends. And then we do everything with this 15 Stars First West. We do everything we do in producing our traditional 15 Stars, but there's no double-digit whiskey in there, right? It's actually our small batch here is going to be a blend of 5, 6, and 7-year-old. And then we'll have a toasted oak, still 5, 6, and 7-year-old. But and here we're doing kind of back to that, doing something different. We found 2 toast profiles that we like. And we've got a ratio of those toast profiles that we think blend well together. So we're blending the whiskeys together. We finish them in the different toasted oak barrels, and then we blend them back in together.
So I got a question on the red. You said you had red, white, blue, and black corn. Now, is it the same?
They just don't like yellow corn, apparently.
We do like yellow corn. We do have a bunch of it in barrels.
Yeah. So is that do you do like, okay, this same mash bill and just different, the corn being the difference, or did you find like each corn is better at, higher rye or lower wheat or whatever?
And are you consulting with anybody to figure out what this mash bill should be, or are you just putting your thumb in the air, finger in the air and going, we're going to go 72% today?
We consulted early on with everybody we could find, right? We still do. But we did throw that black corn, as Ricky said, in a wheated mash. But then after that, we have kind of settled on a mash bill 70, 18, 12 that we are using with rye. So we are able to kind of see what the difference in those corns really is, right? Not to have another effect in there. We are playing around with different barrel entry proofs. Like I said, the red, white, and blue goes in a barrel. All of it goes in a barrel at 103 proof. So we've put it in, some of them at super low, some of them traditional 120, or haven't done 125, but 120 is kind of our highest.
Well, Rick, I'd love to have your opinion on this, knowing that you're doing a lot of experimentation, trying to find different barrel entry proofs, trying to do this. I also look at it from the other way, because I know that, you're a small producer like us. How much risk are you willing to take when it comes to putting these different experiments with its grains, its ratios, its entry proofs? And then, because like we've been down this road too, and we said, you know what, we're going to go with one that we're like, we know it doesn't suck. We're going to keep going this way because there's not an endless pool of money that we can go and take from. So what's your risk adversity trying to figure out, well, how much can we experiment until we say, like, we've got to land on something and just kind of really hit it hard?
Yeah, no, I think that's really fair, and that's a good question, right? And we don't have the answer, but right now we're experimenting quite a bit, as with all the different corns. We haven't got anything we don't like that we're making, right? So we love it all. We think the blending will give us some opportunities to use those in different ways. But you're right, we may end up with some product that we say, when we kind of finalize our line, there may be one of those mash bills that's kind of left out. And
we aimed high.
What are we going to do? Whatever we're going to do with that, I mean, there may be one, we don't know, right? There may be something that doesn't blend in. We love all the whiskeys. We think it'll blend in. We think we'll find a way. And we probably would invent a new brand, to put it in.
Figure it out.
So
or if not, we'd put them on the market and sell them.
Mm-hmm.
Not the greatest prices.
It's
today,
not the greatest price. It is what. And I guess one other thing, we're talking a lot about corn today, because you're getting your popcorn, you're doing anything. Do you all own the fields, or do you work with farmers? Like how's that?
We do a little of both.
Work?
We don't actually farm anything, but we do own some farms. But all our growing is either in Kentucky or Indiana, and we own a little bit of the ground. We don't farm it. Those guys lease the ground from us, and then we may pay them. But
it's the best way to.
But we work with farmers, and we contract with them to grow our corns for us.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I was like, that's the best way to run a business, right? Be the landlord.
So, Master Blender Taster, which corn varietal is your favorite of the 4 so far?
They here's the PR answer. They both they all express themselves in different ways, and they all do. They
And
really
what's the
all.
other answer?
The red.
There we go. Okay.
The red corn. Interesting.
The
It
red.
is really good. It is really good.
Yeah, I mean they are all different. The white is just kind of the white. I would say expressed itself the least, but you could also take that a different way where it's just a very crisp, clean bourbon without a lot of unique taste. It just kind of has a traditional bourbon profile, but that I guess you could say that's the
Makes a
white
good
corn
base to
profile.
blend off.
Yeah.
You know.
And the red and the blue are a little bit more earthy and herbal tasting. With the red, I mean, the blue, interestingly enough, the blue was my least favorite when it was younger, like in the 0 to 2.5 year range. And the blue is quickly catching up to the red for my favorite. But yeah, they both carry similar characteristics, but for some reason the blue is getting really good really fast.
Interesting.
Yeah, with all these different corn varietals, when you find one that you're gonna go and like really start hammering home with, at what point do you start thinking about scale, right? Because yes, you own some farmland, but the reality is that when you want to start doing real scale, you got to have a shit ton of corn to actually make that happen. So have you planned out and mapped and saying like, listen, like this is what we're growing. This is all we could scale this particular kind of line to.
Good news is we grow quite a bit of corn for the popcorns, right? So,
So the popcorn business just had to take a hit.
So,
Yeah.
well, yeah.
Tell your sister
it's a
shit out
balance.
of luck,
It's
right?
a balance.
There's more margins over here in bourbon.
But that really,
I don't know about that. Popcorn's got some pretty good margins to it as well.
That's an advantage to us, right? Because it'd be hard to do this. And these are corns that we uniquely use. So it's not a red corn that's in anybody else's red corn bourbon or a blue corn that's in anybody else's in the black. You know, we own the strain. And so...
Oh, you own the strain?
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
So
you completely left that out of the whole picture here.
Yeah, so it's... So these are unique and...
Monsanto hasn't tried to take it from you?
Well, you know, not yet.
Not yet.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's an amazing kind of story when you start putting it all together. You know, when we started bringing you on and talking about this, the last thing I thought we were going to do is have an episode where we talked a lot about popcorn because, you know, everybody knows your 15 stars that's out on the market. And that's really that's what I had known you for, is that premium, high aged, well blended, to your, you know, tip of the hat there to you, of really good bourbon out there. I had no idea we're going to take this turn, and all of a sudden, like, that's not where it started. It all started because of a popcorn and these kernels and this what it was. So honestly, I'm kind of fascinated about how this kind of took a different spin, starting at the very beginning, and maybe that's why I went in so many different directions. I was like, I think we need to go back to this popcorn thing.
And it's just not very known yet because we're not doing anything with them.
Sure.
Then that First West will be the introduction.
Different than most folks getting into business, right? Most people start sourcing and then kind of go into distilling. We started with the corns and the distilling. And then we got like 3 years into it and said, well, we can't wait long enough, right? We got to do something.
Tired of waiting.
And then we went into kind of, okay, let's source it and let's produce something really exquisite and hone ourselves. So when these corns come of age, which they are starting to do now, when these special bourbons come out, we'll be in a position to put those to good use. And we'll blend those into the releases like what we're doing with our First West.
Do you anticipate your platinum and your Three Kings and these ones that we're all known for is kind of starting to sunset as you bring these ones online, that you're going to have more of a focus on because it's all yours versus sourced?
I think we'll keep them.
Okay. Well, there we go. Simple answer.
Yeah. And we do also distill a bunch of yellow corn traditional mash bill bourbons. And when we find mash bills that we like, we've started making it. So, you know, so we do have
got a library.
Nice inventory coming through.
Do you mind sharing how many barrels you have in inventory? Or what's your
bunch?
Okay. All right. All right. We can leave it at
Thousands.
that. Thousands? Okay.
Yeah.
All
Right there with you.
Yeah.
Right there with you.
Yeah.
Waiting to use them.
Yeah. And, you know, probably the most unique thing we've done with the corns and an interesting mash is a barely legal rye that has heirloom corn in it. So we've used a combination of our black and white heirloom corns to do a mash bill that's 51% rye, 44 blend of those corns, and 5% malted barley. That really gives a nice combination of that heirloom corn feel, but it's still a rye. got the spiciness and spark of a rye, but a really unique rye. So we're what are we in? We're almost probably almost 4 years into that.
Do you know which warehouses at Bardstown or yours are in? Because if not, we'll pop on by with a DeWalt one time and start drilling into them and take some samples.
I'd say we got a few in just about every one, so I think your chances are good.
I know the feeling.
Look for the ones that 15 stars on them.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I want to say thank you again for coming on today. Oh, actually, there's one more thing you brought. Do you want to share this big old rifle that you brought as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick. Because the first time anybody's actually brought a weapon onto the podcast before, so congratulations on making
I thought he was bringing a decanter of whiskey up, and he pulls out a vintage rifle.
A vintage whiskey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just about as tall as me.
I mean, with like the bottle we talked about, we've collected a group of these historical items that are Kentucky made, that exhibit the craftsmanship of early Kentucky. And so we thought we'd bring one of those with us. And it's kind of what we're trying to do with our bourbons, right? The early Kentucky craftsmen, everything was handmade. It was done with high aspiration, trying to do the very best that they could do. And, the Kentucky rifle is kind of the iconic piece of that. And so this is actually a Kentucky rifle from the very early 1800s. And crafted kind of along the
Ricky's like, don't point that
took Ricky
Cumberland. It's called a Cumberland rifle, so kind of that Cumberland River Valley that's along the Kentucky-Tennessee border. But you can see, I mean, the lines on it,
the details,
the
amazing.
maple, this curly maple that has the
taking a long
the lines
time to
in
make.
it, yeah, and handcrafted in Kentucky that exhibits that master craftsmanship that we're trying to put in our bourbons. And so we thought it'd be fun. At some point, we'll end up with a great tasting room, somewhere in Bardstown or in Louisville. And we got a little, vision for a little museum that talks about the craftsmanship of early Kentucky and how we're bringing it forward and doing some really special things today.
I love it.
That's amazing.
Hold it up for the camera.
By the way, this
Long.
is it's like
When they say long rifle, they meant it.
I mean, it's
like-
taller than me.
yeah, it's like it's
And
6
this
feet.
really was a change. When I said Daniel Boone came through 1775, this is a rifle that that long barrel gave a sense of accuracy that British muskets didn't have in the day. So this is really a
Been
gun
a pain to
that
carry around on Appalachian.
yeah, it'd be a
God
hike,
dang it,
wouldn't
got
it?
hit on the stick again.
You can hardly hold it up for more than 15 seconds with all the
Yeah.
weight
I
on
just
it.
imagine walking through the forest. I
Those
clipped
you-
a tree again.
Yeah, I suppose he rested on a tree when he shot the deer.
Yeah.
Let's say,
Yeah.
just don't desk pop it around here. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
But Rick and Ricky, I want to say thank you again for coming on the show today. This was fun, right?
Yeah,
It
it
was
was a great story.
like I said, I didn't know the kind of twists and turns we're going to take. Thank you for bringing the popcorn. Thank you for sharing the whiskey and even more some Kentucky history. I think what you all are doing is very special and bringing something, as you said, to light that, as we start discovering and finding new things and you're able to start piecing and tying together parts of history to make it more of that Americana story. And it's something that you're putting together in a bottle. So congratulations so far on the success. And if you haven't tried anything from 15 Stars, please do. You got to try it. We've never given it a bad review on Whiskey
No.
Quickie. They're
We're
always
fans.
knockout standouts. So
I always joke with Kenny. I'm like, give me older whiskey to work with, like these guys.
yeah, so they've got quite the library. So do a collaboration with them. There you go. You can start.
There we go.
We can make it happen.
We'll be the two kings.
Yeah, there you go. Well, Rick and Ricky, give one more plug about where people can find out more about you, 15 Stars, all that sort of stuff too.
Yeah, 15stars.com can read about us. We're available in Kentucky here as well as 27 other markets kind of on this side of the U.S. You can buy our stuff online at 15stars.com. We have a newsletter that you can sign up for on our website that keeps you up to date on anything we release or are doing, and I write that myself. And
We know it's
lastly,
like small business,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
yep.
you're the marketing department too.
Exactly. And so lastly, 15 Stars Bourbon on social media, Instagram and Facebook.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well, thank you all for coming in. Thank you for bringing a gun. Like I said,
All the props. I was like, what the hell are they bringing in? But it all tied it all together. I love it.
Well, we got cameras now, right? You gotta show it off. So that's the great part about it. So again, make sure you go follow 15 Stars. You can follow Bourbon Pursuit wherever you get your socials and your podcast. Share with a friend. And if you do like the show, you want to support it. You want to see what's going on behind the scenes, other things that we have going on, maybe a private barrel pick, maybe some other things. Go check it out. Bourbon Pursuit on Patreon. You can support us for as little as $5 a month. But with that, cheers, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Toodles.